Here we go.
Okay, so welcome to the workshop, Futures Start From Within. In this workshop, we will practice being human and then see how that changes our thinking about the future. Before we start, we here and you watching the recording later need some equipment. So you need something to take simple notes with. Pen and paper is fine. And then some simple object that you can explore with your senses, such as this, but any object that you can safely pick up with your hands and explore with your senses is fine. The more familiar the object is, the better the exercise with it will be. So that's why I'm using this one myself. And before we go into talking about like what are the superpowers we all humans have and practicing those and the futures thinking exercise, we'll just take a moment to arrive here in this workshop, in this moment. So if you feel like it, you can close your eyes for a moment, or sit or stand with your eyes open, whatever feels most comfortable and allows you to feel your body here in this moment. Because unlike our brain, our bodies don't know how to time travel. So if you need to return to this moment, your body is always here for you. Commonly, the breath is used as an anchor, but it can be any sensation in your body that allows you to notice that you are here in this moment. And when you notice your mind wandering, you can return to the sensations in your body. And when you notice your mind wandering, you can return to the sensations in your body. Now that we are all here, you can take a moment to think about what brought you here today. All the decisions you've made in your life led to this moment. But something brought you here today. Just take a moment to quietly reflect on what that is. open the breakout rooms for you to have discussion about what brought you here. You can have the discussion privately in the breakout room, and that will not be recorded. I'll give you 5 minutes to discuss what brought you here today. Do you want to share what brought you here today for the audience watching this later?
Okay. Me, myself, I really am interested about the future of education and learning because I'm a teacher. And therefore, I'm interested in knowing about the future and the topic future within us is kind of interesting to know because nobody has actually been so specific about this subject. That's the main reason I'm here.
So sounds like your curiosity brought you here,
Yes.
which is one of the main themes we'll be talking about as we move forward. Well, welcome, Christina. We're right now having a little breakout discussion about what brought you here today. So you can take this moment to reflect on that yourself.
As somebody else has joined us, and
yeah.
Do you want to assign her to the room or not?
It's okay. We'll be closing the breakout pretty soon, so it's better to let the ones who are there have that discussion.
Okay.
So Christina, if you're joining the workshop fully, you're gonna need some equipment, something to take notes with, and then some small simple object that you can pick up and explore with your senses. For example, something like this, something you are familiar with and can safely explore. And those of you who are watching the recording, if you don't have anyone available there to talk with, you can use the note-taking equipment to just reflect by yourself. We'll give the breakout rooms 1 more minute to finish their discussion. And when that's done, we'll be moving on to the superpowers we all have.
You are muted, Christina.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Should I unmute myself? Well, I picked that kind of object. Is that okay?
Yeah.
First thing was it close by.
So like I've done this specific exercise that requires equipment many times, and it's always interesting to see what people pick up. But yeah, the way we are combining the exercises here is a new thing. So I'm also experimenting here. Let's see what happens. So I'm closing the breakout rooms now. We'll wait for them to come back before moving. Welcome back. So let's get on with the main part of the workshop, which is superpowers we all humans have. And they are curiosity, creativity, and compassion. Starting from curiosity, well, that's the power that allowed a bunch of tree-dwelling apes take over the whole planet. The jury is still out whether that's a good thing or not. But anyway, we seriously started to explore the world around us and kind of tried out things that have no apparent value, but then turned out to be good ideas, and to wonder and wonder. And despite the kind of the innate nature of curiosity, it's something that is built in to our genes. It's also a skill we can train. And most of us going through life actually kind of avoid doing that and then end up completely forgetting that the skill even exists. Like, it's obvious from little children that we are born curious, but then when you look at the average adult, it tends to be missing, and it's important that we keep in touch with our curiosity, because it allows us to learn about anything, approach situations that may be scary or challenging, but still learn something from them without the kind of the trauma-based mechanism, which is not recommended for learning. So for this exercise, we need the object that you got earlier. If you didn't get anything yet, quickly grab something that you can safely pick up and explore with your senses. But first, put the object down in front of you, so it's there but not yet in your hands. So you might notice that just seeing the object triggers certain ideas in your head about like how to pick it up and what to do with it, and there's a lot of ideas related to it. But the idea in this exercise is to go back in time into the world where everything was new to you, including this object, where you tended to pick up anything you found because it was something new. Try to connect with that curiosity that you were born with, and pick up the object like it would be the first time ever. So go ahead, pick it up like it would be the first time ever, and then explore it with your senses. You can use whichever senses feel relevant. Obviously starting from touch, just because you picked it up, and then move on from there wherever your curiosity takes you.
You mean
And when
just
you know,
touch the object and feel?
Yeah, I mean, intentionally not picking the senses for you. You like try to listen to it. For example, it's pretty hard if you're wearing sound canceling headphones, but you can try what it smells like. What do you see when you look at it more closely? Use different senses. And when you notice your mind wandering to ideas about what the object is or what to do with it, return to the direct sensory experience in this moment. Especially if it's a very familiar object to you, you might notice yourself repeating patterns that you often repeat when this object is around. And when you notice yourself doing that, try something new. Maybe find a detail that you haven't noticed before with your eyes or your hands. And when you notice your mind wandering, return to the direct sensory experience. You might notice yourself thinking like, what are we doing? And what's the point of this? And when you notice that thought, return to the direct sensory experience in this moment. Like you might notice yourself thinking that I've already seen the object and all the different details in it, and I know exactly what it feels like. Then try finding something new. And when you notice your mind starting to think about the object, return to the direct sensory experience. And if you notice yourself getting bored, take a moment to enjoy the privilege of being in a situation where you can be bored. And then return to the direct sensory experience.
The privilege of being born?
Being bored.
Bored.
Being bored. There's a lot of people around the world who live in situations where they don't get to be bored. It's a huge privilege. And when you notice your mind wandering to thoughts about other people and places, return to the direct sensory experience. And then find one more new thing. Maybe try a sense you haven't tried yet. Then you can put the object down and take a moment to let the experience you just had settle in. Okay, so the second superpower we have, creativity, which is all about combining things in novel ways, which combined with curiosity has led to many kinds of innovations, such as putting a stone and a stick together or putting meat on fire. There's a few others since then that enables us to have this workshop from all over the world. I'm not sure where you are joining from. A lot of us seem to be from Finland, but still, creativity and curiosity were key elements to getting to this point. And with the few million years of practice we've had with these skills, we can do it with completely abstract concepts. We can imagine things that don't exist and then make them a reality, such as being able to communicate with anyone, anywhere on the planet, or almost anywhere. We still don't have full coverage, but anyway. Kind of the core mechanism of creativity is the same mechanism that's behind our implicit and explicit memory, which is association. So how things relate to each other, whether it's how this object relates to movements of my hand and how it relates to getting food into my mouth or whatever. This is how our brain works. It's just a bunch of associations of external stimuli to external actions, and then a bunch of things that happen internally. But the basic mechanism of association is also something we can practice, and we can practice this in ways that fosters creativity of seeing things from a different angle. For this exercise, you need to see my picture. So if you are on a mobile device or away from the screen or whatever, try to move into a position where you can see me, because I will be showing you things with pictures on them that you need to be able to see to participate in this exercise. But before we go into the exercise itself, this exercise requires you to have some kind of anchor or a topic to use as kind of the sparring partner. So take a moment to think about an aspect of the future that you're curious about. It can be anything. Like I said, well, this mechanism works on completely abstract concepts too. It may be the practice may be easier with a more concrete idea, but think of an aspect of the future, whatever you're curious about, and write that down. Something that's like a single word or a very clear concept in your head. That it's not this like long list of ideas, but a single concept. And write it down for yourself. I'll give you a minute to think about it. In terms of the exercise, it doesn't really matter what it is, but it might be more fruitful if it is something you're actually interested in.
Done.
Okay. So what we're going to be doing now is, oh, there's a question. Yeah, future of mobility. That's okay. It's quite like an abstract thing, but still a single concept. Yeah.
Robotic
so
humans.
for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
Yeah.
after
no,
listening-
I'm just I'm gonna no, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the back. So how this exercise works is I will show you a picture of a thing, and you need to think about how is that thing related to the concept you just wrote down.
So we shouldn't be telling you that.
No,
What we are thinking about?
You don't have to tell it. Like I don't need to know it. This is more for you. So I will show you a picture of something very simple, and you need to think of it about how it relates to the object you have. You can write it down if you feel like it, or just keep it in your head. So we'll do a few of these. Let's see how long we end up using. Let's begin. So how is this thing that I will show you related to the concept you just wrote down? And the association can be anything at all. Maybe the first thing that pops into your mind, maybe you want to take a moment to think about more deeply. Or it can be just the color of a part there, or how it's used, or what it tastes like, whatever the association in your head is. We are not trying to create anything specific. We're practicing relating things to each other.
Your voice sometimes gets cut off.
Run a little closer.
Yeah, when you're closer, it's better.
Okay, so here's the next concept.
Oh well. It's hard to connect, actually. We have to be
That's
creative.
the whole point of yes, that's the whole point of the exercise, is that there isn't always an obvious connection, but there's always a connection.
Always a connection.
Yeah, like it's at least possible to create one. It might not exist yet. You can also use the experience from the previous exercise to think about like different senses, how they relate to the concepts. Here's the next one. And it's completely fine if the association is stupid or doesn't make any sense. Whatever is the connection, that's the one you made. Here's the next one. This is one of the few ones here where I realize it's not entirely culturally sensitive, because if you have never used one of these, you might not recognize. but I'm consciously avoiding using words about it. As this exercise continues, you might notice the experience getting easier or harder or potentially more confusing. That's part of the process. Here's the next one.
Yeah, it's getting easier.
The pace a little bit, hopefully can keep up. Here's the next one. So the last one, so that I'll show you two things and find something that combines all of these, your concept and both of these. You might notice that this is significantly harder.
Yeah. You have to be really creative to actually relate this to that.
Let's take a bit of a stretch at the end and see what you find. Remember, it can be anything at all. It doesn't have to make sense. It can be simple, can be very complicated idea. Okay. Thank you for joining that. Right. Let's have a 5-minute breakout room so everybody gets a chance to talk about the experience.
What about? Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
Can we talk about it here? Because there are 4 of us.
True. Yeah, no, I'm just wondering if people might be self-conscious about speaking on the recording, so that's.
I can pause the video.
Yeah, yeah, we can do that.
So, would you please turn on your mics so that we can talk about this experiment, everybody, the participants? Thank you. Thank you, Christina. It would be a lot easier to talk to people if we have their video on. Of course, this is. Thank you. I pause.
We can, yes, turn the recording back on. Thank you. Well, welcome to. Oh, it's not a. Okay, yeah, we just time skip past the reflection for those watching later. So the third superpower, beyond curiosity and creativity, which is also like key to why we didn't end up like just destroying everything around us, is compassion. So that's something we share with our mammal cousins. So we take care of our young and each other. But then humans have cultivated that a lot further. And we can take care of other beings than ourselves. We can even be compassionate about completely abstract ideas, or especially like concrete things like robots or plants or whatever. Like we can use the same thing for more than just our own young and our own brethren. There's just one problem, that this feature can also be turned off, which has been crucial for our survival in times of scarcity, when there simply wasn't enough to go around, and has led to many unfortunate events, to say the least, in the past. And unfortunately also much of the trauma-driven business world these days is stuck in this same mode. Instead of us seeing each other as humans, we see numbers, or in some cases enemies, while at the core of each of us is the same humanity. And there is a at least 2,500-year-old practice that can help us remember this, connect with the shared humanity in all of us, and to channel our compassion to whoever needs it. Quite often it needs to start from ourselves. The practice is known as metta meditation, or loving kindness meditation. Comes from the Buddhist teachings. The version I use is a slightly lighter version of the same practice. The core of the practice is the intention of wishing well to people and things. So for this practice, take a alert but comfortable pose where your body can relax without slouching, or just lie down if that feels like the right thing to do right now. Or if you're perhaps outside walking, you might want to take a moment to sit down somewhere. It is possible to do this walking too, but it may be a little challenging if you have not practiced a lot. So to begin, bring to your mind a person who has in some way been compassionate towards you, someone who is always there for you, or you know that you can trust to be compassionate when you interact with them. And imagine them wishing to you, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have peace and ease. You can also silently repeat the phrases in your own mind. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have peace and ease. And then you can take the same compassion and the intent to start wishing well to the people around you, your loved ones, the people in this workshop, or someone you really care about. May you be well. May you be happy. May you have peace and ease. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have peace and ease. And you can also direct the same compassion and goodwill towards people who have maybe hurt you or you have difficulties with. Pick a person like this and then wish to them, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have peace and ease. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you have peace and ease. And this compassion in this pure form of wishing well is boundless, and we can radiate it to larger groups as well. We can do the same for all humans. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we have peace and ease. Because these are also things that deep down we all want. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we have peace and ease. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we have peace and ease. And we can even further expand this to all beings, big and small, near and far. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings have peace and ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings have peace and ease. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. Now that we're all here and sufficiently confused but compassionate, the final step in this workshop is to think about the future. Let's take 2 minutes of silence about what kind of future do you want to build. So what kind of future do you want to build? So what kind of future do you want to build? I guess we can have the discussion here again. So I think Kristin is still away.
Kristin, I think she went to pick up.
Yep.
her kid. But we have Hazel, and who else is present so that we can have a discussion. Well, who want to be first? Well, the first thing that came to my mind, mostly after this thinking about the compassion and thinking about well-being, I want to build a future that the environment is the same for the future generation. It's kind of sustain what we have right now and be a part of the people that want to stop all this technological advancement to deteriorate what we already have to the rate that the future generation cannot enjoy what we are enjoying right now, especially the environment and everything that is getting worse day by day, like global warming and stuff. That's what I'm thinking about. Hi Christine, welcome back. That's for me.
So the question is, what kind of future do you want to build?
I guess I can continue, and I sort of, as soon as you asked the question or asked us to think about it, I was like, that's sneaky. First you make us all happy and fluffy, and then like, so like that, of course, it's going to affect, but I think it's a very good thing, and
Yes.
And I think this could be an amazing tool for like politicians to actually think of compassionate futures. So that was the first word that came, a compassionate future. But then I tried to figure out what does it mean to me. Many of the same topics that Samira mentioned for me. In the last year, I've become interested in first urban farming and sort of community farming and thinking about soil and sort of regeneration of, some things we have on our planet. If they run out, they run out. And so a healthy soil is like a very concrete thing that not too many people think about. So, but in general, regenerating instead of just generating and innovating and producing, I think regeneration is sort of a word that should focus on, like regenerative agriculture or anything that's regenerating. And then what else is compassionate? I think also thinking back to some of the keynote speeches we heard, Nieri, for example, this sort of opening opportunities to those who may not have had them before. I think that that is the compassion, sort of thinking about our privileges and thinking about how we can help people, whoever has less privileges than us. And sustainable, that was the particular word also I had the same as Samira. Sustainable and kind future. I suppose the details will take a little bit of time to think about what is a kind future. And then some words, engaging and flexibly collaborative, because although I thought, collaborative future, but then I don't want to have a future where people are forced to collaborate. Like we all need that, sort of, some people need more space and alone time than others. So it shouldn't be like that everything is interactive and if everything is collaborative. We should have space to be who we are. And then the last thing I wrote was lots of green. Yeah, so that was my compassionate future.
Thank you. And yes, this was very intentional. The whole point of the workshop was to get connected with our humanity and then see what comes out of that.
Anybody else want to talk?
Maybe I can quickly build up on what you have already mentioned. I agree with my version pretty much overlaps with Samira's and Hazel's version of what a compassionate future could look like. But I would also maybe highlight the role of having that dialogue and trying to build upon on these universal values that we all have as human beings. And if we actually kind of stress those common elements that we all value as humans, then we are able to kind of unlock the potential of how we can create those compassionate futures for ourselves. So if we work with ourselves, if we kind of reflect on who we are as people, as humans, and then we are able to connect deeper with others as well and actually find those common languages and to build together something that we all want to see take place in the future. Yeah, and Sebastian has his own ideas, obviously. Thank you.
Example of the curiosity practice here. Like this is exactly what we do when we are born. And first figure out that we can actually move these and they are like our thing and not something that just hits us in the face, which is kind of the first 3 months or so.
Exactly, everything is so new. Yeah, you agree. Go anywhere. Hey, Sebo.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a very good point that about the shared values. Like I said, the kind of health, peace, and happiness are things everybody wants. So it's a very, those are at least things we can start from. It's just really hard when there's like 1,000 years of hate somewhere. It's really hard to get moving from there, but still every single person involved in those kind of situations still have the same things in them. They want peace, health, and happiness.
Yeah, correct. But there's a lot of time that we forget that.
Yeah, the good thing about that is it is about forgetting, not about learning something new. It's just a matter of remembering what we are.
Yeah, and that's why knowing about the history and different aspects and different versions of history, I think is really important in that case as well. We know our heritage. And I think that's a topic that we will learn during this conference as well at some point.
Anything else anyone wants to share? You can also use the chat if you don't want to speak up loud.
Yeah, well, I wanted to say, sorry for coming late. I had a meeting that was clashing, but I think I entered at an interesting point. It would have been fun to hear the previous exercises. So these were themes that you had, like creativity and compassion. And what was the first?
Yeah, curiosity.
Ah,
yeah.
Cool.
So just as a quick debrief, like it's quite different. Like I recommend watching the recording with actually doing this, but
sure.
but the basic idea is to take some object that's very familiar to you and then explore it like it would be the first time ever, and really like get into the kind of curiosity of a little baby.
Clowning.
Yeah, so tap into that, and then the creativity was about picking some futures related concept that you're curious about and then associating it with simple concepts such as, and then like different things. We kept doing that, and that's where the weird discussion you joined came from.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think that those three aspects are among the ones that are the last, like artificial intelligence will pick them up last. So if we want to still have a job, we should get a job in creativity, compassion, and curiosity. Well, so it's a good troika in that sense.
So thank you for joining this workshop. This was the first time I did this specific set of practices together, and they seem to fit together. Happy to hear any additional feedback.
I think it was really good experience, really fun in a way, and it does give that different set of lens. I think that's really good setup, and then those superpowers and the first exercise as well, learning to kind of utilize the different senses and trying to kind of see the world as a kid, as this 1-year-old. So that's interesting. That was really good experience. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, that's true. And through the whole session, from the start, I was thinking what would happen at the end, and when that came up, I thought that if we could do this to many people, and we can do this workshop and kind of hypnotize them with thinking about compassion, and then force them, especially the policymakers, to then decide whatever they want to decide about, like the crazy things that's going on. Like I was watching the presentation of Elon Musk last night about the microchips that's gonna implant in our mind, and I was really frustrated about it, because he kind of said that you don't have to speak anymore, because those microchips will convey your thoughts to other persons, to other people. So I thought maybe if that comes true, it would be really frustrating, and nobody will be friends with each other anymore, because you know what's going on each other's mind, which is not a very good place to know all the opinions and thoughts about each other, especially. So let alone the future. There will be no future for humanity this way, I think. We have to rethink some of these decisions about the future of mankind. That's what I was thinking about through this session. And thank you, it was really interesting and inspiring. That's for me.
Thank you. And yeah, anyone who thinks it's a good idea to like directly broadcast your thoughts has never listened to their own thoughts. Like our brains are really good at seeing everything that's wrong in the world. This is like where anxiety and depression come from. It's like that getting out of hand. You really don't want that broadcast. It's something to sit with yourself and then actually think about what you say.
Yeah, I think also I was thinking along the same lines as Samira about policymakers. I guess it's the frustration is it seems that once people get into a position of power, for many reasons, they do not really act compassionately. There's probably a lot of pressure, and then there's the fear of losing your seat once you've gotten, so like you really have to become hardened, or sometimes it's actually that the people who would do the most good in the world, they are not interested in being in those kind of positions. So any kind of compassion training for policymakers and legislators and the police staff, like all of those, I think would be a great idea. We've run, it's not really a workshop, but in sort of during some seminars for the Society for Future Studies that we've done. A few times we've done scenario dinners, which means that during the day we've listened to all these researchers and expert talk, and then we've built scenarios based on those, and then we divided people into groups, and then they have a very short time to make a dinner. They're put into one scenario, so people get different. Some of them are really terrible, like this sort of like this dystopian world where everything is industrialized, and they have to figure out what people eat, and then they have to make the menu, and then they have to go shop and cook, and then afterwards we all talk about their experiences. And for me, I think it relates to, of course, it's not directly compassion, but that's sort of embodiment of future. And to do something like that for policymakers, for example, would make them have to face the futures that they are building, because it's like, do you want to put that into your body? We all talk about like, future and pills and like going to Mars and not needing food anymore, and we just need supplements. But then when it comes to, you start looking at the next group who has this sustainable future with local foods and all organic, and you're like, I don't want to be sitting at this table. So really having to sort of concretely, I think it's a very embodied and intimate thing to eat. And the fact that then they get the chance to eat the future of their decisions is quite impactful. And I think this compassion thing is the impact is similar, but it's more on a, not just mental, but psychological and interrelational level. So I think it's very good. So I just did a little spamming. So Essi Silvonen and I have been running this random coffee thing for the FFRC for a year now. And now we're doing one version of the random coffee networking thing only for the conference. So if you want to randomly meet one person from the conference, you can sign up. It's free, and it doesn't take place during the conference. So if you're fully scheduled, you don't have to worry. You have the whole month of June to decide with your pair when you want to have an online coffee. So more information in the links. And of course you can ask me also, but we're trying to, because all the technical chaos earlier, they were supposed to also mention it, I think, in the big sessions, but now we are spamming the Zoom groups with this thing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be happy to do this for like members of the parliament and all that. Like if anyone can connect me with someone like that, happy to do that. It's a really like hard world to get into, and I guess I'm not sure if it's the main thing. Based on my experience, the main thing is people just keep themselves busy, like just like taking a minute every day to just be there probably would already fix like half the problems. And then it's really hard to like people who already have like calendar with like 7 meetings at the same time. It's really hard to like squeeze anything into that. Like it's completely absurd, like how stuck many organizations are. I'm not sure how bad it is in government, but based on what I know, it's not good there either. Like it's kind of this trying to do more to get more done doesn't work. There's the key there. Just like I have a lot of good experience from just slowing down, doing the same thing but slower tends to lead to better results, especially in terms of creativity and compassion. These are things that come naturally to us. Just takes space and remembering that we are human.
I signed up as well. Hazel.
Yes, and then we can continue maybe talking about these topics. Of course, the topics are all free, and probably it will be about the future. But the great idea is to, among all this craziness of the conference, to have like one person and to have like a nice one-on-one conversation with them. I'm the technical assistant in the next session. I will probably have to log out now to make sure that I get all the hosting rights and things like that. But thank you, Jussi. This was very interesting.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
see you somewhere in the Zoom world.
Sure.
Bye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.